was making my tight end rankings video, and Julio Jones just got signed by the Bucs. So I wanted to come on here really quickly, drop a quick video explaining what I think about that, and really talk about the fantasy football impact that I see with this signing. So firstly, we can start with Tom Brady, because I think this just kind of helps him out overall. Now, given how Julio Jones has looked in this past 2 years and all the injuries that it's really dealt with, this definitely isn't no like needle moving signing. Now, having Julio Jones and Tom Brady paired up together sounds unbelievable. Unfortunately, it's 2022 and it probably won't be quite that. I don't really think it moves Tom Brady up the rankings at all. I think it just solidifies him where I had him, which is right behind Russell Wilson. I think at quarterback 9. If you want to take him ahead of Russell, go for it. After that, it's like the Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. I don't really see this pushing him past that tier, but it makes me super comfortable taking him in that quarterback 9 and 10 area. Now, I'm obviously going to have to think about this more because this happened an hour ago or so, but I do think it's going to hurt Mike Evans. I say it's going to hurt Mike Evans because I had him ranked as my wide receiver like 8 or something. I was super high on him this year, mostly because Chris Godwin and Gronk are both gone. So there's a ton of target volume for him and is pretty much all going to go to him. And while I think that is still mostly the case, having Julio Jones on the field will 100% take away from that. In the games that he did play last year, like he was still good. I don't have the exact numbers up in front of me. I know they weren't anything great, but if you watch him on the field, like he could still do it. He had that one toe tap touchdown in the back of the end zone that got called back. Like, he's still got those moves in him. He was just hurt and couldn't stay healthy. So that's going to be the case here. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be solid. I don't know how good he'll be for fantasy, but I think he's going to help the team a lot, kind of just open things up. There's so many vacated targets that there's going to need to go somewhere, and Mike Evans can't take all of them. But how low does it move Mike Evans? I mean, not much. He's still definitely a top 10 wide receiver. I think I actually might have had him ranked in my wide receiver 7. I think Debo and Tyreek are right behind him, and then T. Higgins. You can go look at my wide receiver video if you want to see that, but I don't know how far he's going to move him. There's still a lot of question marks with those guys like Debo and Tyreek. I don't really see him going below T. Higgins, so I don't see him going any lower than my wide receiver 9, honestly. So he's still a top 10 wide receiver, and there's even a chance I don't move him because there's still question marks with those other guys behind him. There may be a tier separator now between Mike and CD, but I don't really know. That's gonna have to come through me kind of just processing this more. This has just happened, so I don't know for sure, but those are that's my initial thought with Mike Evans. This also absolutely kills Russell Gage as a late round fantasy target. I can't remember off the top of my head which mock draft it was, but in one of my recent mock drafts, I took Russell Gage in the end, and he's somebody that I've found myself taking a lot in that like round 12 area, and it was really because he was going to be the wide receiver 2 for a lot of the season since Chris Godwin is gone, and now that's pretty much out the window with Julio. I mean, Julio could get hurt and then he could be back in that role, but it's hard to know. And Julio has never really been an injury person except for these past 2 years, but now that's kind of been his whole MO. So it's like, do I want to predict that he's going to have injuries? Like, I never want to do that with anybody. It's not how I play fantasy. I think it's a dumb way. There's certain people you need to associate injury risk with. And at this point, obviously he's one of them. And I don't think he's going to be going very high in fantasy drafts. Julio, I'm talking about now. I don't think he'll be going very high in fantasy drafts. So I think most people will understand that. It really just kind of hurts the people around him. If he's on the field, he's going to get targets. So RIP, Russell Gage. The other thing I would say, I probably should have looked at this more. I have my phone right here. I can just look at this. One of the reasons that I thought that this signing happened was because Chris Godwin was going to be missing a while because he's injured his ACL this year in January. So normally the earliest he'd be ready for is September, which even then not normally coming back right away. So this kind of made me indicate or think that the Bucs thought that Chris Godwin was going to be out for a while, but it looks like he's actually ready for the start of training camp. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be ready for the start of the season, although he could be. And even when he is, I feel like he'll probably be on a snap count and need some time working back. But it looks like he's ahead of schedule. I mean, aren't all the NFL players ahead of schedule on their injury recovery now? So that's going to be interesting. I guess a lot of that is just have to wait and see how that plays out through training camp. Because if Godwin's fine and Julio's fine and Mike Evans fine, I think it's going to be what it was last year where they're all going to drop a lot. But there's no way Chris Godwin isn't limited to start the season. Like, he's definitely going to be, but it does seem like he's going to be back a lot earlier than I originally thought. So that's great for him. It's just not the best for fantasy because it just makes it more mucky there. And I was so excited for Mike Evans, and it looks like that is going more and more down. But as I've said just a second ago, it looks like a lot of this is just going to have to be a wait and see situation. But it looks like Tampa is really going for it. I mean, why wouldn't they? Their receiving core is absolutely absurd now. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, just a bunch of absolute studs. They still got Cameron Brate at tight end, Leonard Fournette, Rashad White. Like, their offense is absolutely absurd. It's not always the best for fantasy because all those weapons makes it difficult to really pinpoint who's going to be the best. Well, I definitely think Mike Evans will be the best this year just because Chris Godwin is coming off injury and obviously no more Antonio Brown. He might not be that top 10 wide receiver if everyone else is ready for the start of the season, but like I said many times already, we're going to have to wait and see. Julio is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer for 1 year. It's going to be very interesting to watch. So yeah, let me know what you think about this signing. Do you think it really hurts Mike Evans much? Do you think it gets rid of Russell Gage? I think I was just under an assumption recently that Godwin was going to be out a lot longer than it seems like he might be. So let me know what you think about that. Drop a like on this, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anyone watching at this point still, y'all been absolutely killing my videos lately. Like, I have barely any subscribers and I'm getting a lot of views already. So this is pretty dope. My tight end ranking video also will be coming out soon. I was literally working on this and then stopped to film this video here, so gonna get back to that now, which is kind of a weird video to make just because researching statistics for tight ends is completely different, and after like the top 5 tight ends is really just kind of a take whoever you feel like. It's just such a different position than everything else in fantasy that it's gonna be an interesting video to make. I might just talk a lot more about the situations and that kind of stuff rather than the type of stats they put up and all the like the vacated targets and all of those kind of stuff. But we'll see. It's going to be sprinkled in a little bit of everything. But that video will be coming out this week, so watch for that. After that, I don't really know what exactly I'm going to be doing. I have a lot of different video ideas in mind, just not sure what to focus on yet. But it's all coming out. A ton of content coming soon. So subscribe, stay tuned. See y'all in those ones. Peace.